Well, that was quite a hiatus. My apologies. Hello, Pulp Hounds. Yeah, bit of a break from YouTube, um, partly because of work things, but I've kind of rejigged my working week, so I'm doing more hours at the studio, but I've got a few more days at home, which is very lovely. So I could work from home more. Not tattoo from home, it's just designs and drawing and illustration and stuff. And I've got like an extra day. I managed to squeeze an extra day a week because I've missed talking to you, gruesome lot, about books, and such. So let's have a word from this week's sponsor.
Yes, I know eggs are good for you. When I come to Paris, I like a change. I always take the continental breakfast myself. The coffee and the rolls. Just look at those two over there. You can tell they're English. 3 fried eggs apiece. I don't know why they bother to come to Paris. They might as well get a Frinton. English?
Non, monsieur, ils sont français. They're French.
French? They can't be. The French don't eat eggs for breakfast.
Mais bien sûr, monsieur. Lots of French people eat eggs for breakfast.
Do they? Well, in that case, I'll have some too. 3 fried ones. 3. Avec le petit lion. With the little lion. All this week I've been starving myself and I could have had a decent breakfast.
You see, monsieur, holidays are egg-shaped.
Yes, but you're not, are you? So much for the saucy French waitress. Ah, well, vive les œufs.
Yeah, eggs. Who's best at advertising eggs? Tony Hancock. They go hand in hand. So anyway, let's do a pickup video. Well, things have accumulated with my ill-gotten gains whilst I've been having a little YouTube hiatus, and there's quite a stack actually that I'm going to share with you. This video is not too long, so we'll just crack on and see what I've been spending my hard-earned cash on, and that you may wish to purchase also. I've not read all of them yet. I've read some of them. I don't know if they're all any good. First up is one I've been after for ages. It's The Devil in the Atlas by David Gurney. It's a lovely New English Library edition. And I got a kind of loose sequel to it quite a few years ago, The Evil Under the Water. And I've not read this yet because I wanted to read that one first. There's a couple of blogs I've looked on that have said like it's not like a direct sequel, but there's things that tie them both together. So I wanted to get this, and I've been hunting for it for ages. It wasn't expensive. It's one of those that's not super pricey. It's just hard to find. Speaking of not being super pricey, but being quite hard to find, The Source by Jack Shackelford. I bet she's cold. She'll catch a chill, that lass. I've read House of the Magus by Jack Shackelford. Really enjoyed it. And this is one that I've been after for a couple of years now. And it's just finding them. It wasn't expensive, I think, because it's a little bit cream crackered. But I don't care. Like, yeah, I'd love a pristine copy of everything I own, but if it's like this or nothing, then this'll do nicely. Thank you very much for a couple of quid. Next up is it's like there's two. So when I show you the first one, if you're familiar with it, you'll know what the second one is. I got a copy of The Brownstone by Ken Ulo, which is a kind of sinister goings on in a big old American apartment building type thing, and it's got a nana trapped in a window. Someone let her out. Another one I've been after for ages. I mean, these aren't like trembling with excitement type grails, but they're just ones that have been on my list that I'm like, I rate want to get that. Then obviously the next one I've got is Bloodstone by Ken Ulo, which is the sequel, and this one's got a lady trapped in a window. She doesn't like the window. Poor lady. We'll see what happens to her when I read the book. Hopefully something more interesting than being trapped in a window. I got another New English Library. It's one by Nick Sharman, who wrote The Cats, amongst other things. I'm trying to think what else he wrote. I just like that little cute face in the middle. I love that kind of Russian nesting dolls with the little lass in the middle. She's ace. It's quite a chonker. New English Library never did like really thick books, so when this arrived I was like, what's in this parcel? I've just ordered an L. It should be like half a centimetre thick. No, it's going to take me ages to read that. Oh, next up is one of those that you order and you think that's never going to arrive for that price. I think it was about £4.50 and it's pristine. And this is a bit of a like, I did get a little bit shaky hands when I ordered it. Oh, the last Crabs book. Crabs, the Human Sacrifice. So obviously they're going to have to find another like way from the sea to inland. I'm hoping it's a canal, because I'd like to see some narrowboat owners get scoffed by the giant crabs. But this one is so hard to find. And I think I looked on ABE Books, found this for about £4.50, and then the next one up was 135 quid, I think, which is just stupid. It's too much money, isn't it? Oh, I had this years ago, and I do love Joe Lansdale, and it's a weird one. I got this for a couple of quid, and some of the ones listed are like 50 quid. It's one of those that, I don't know, I think if you don't get it soon, it's going to be prohibitively expensive. I have read this before. I got it like back in the 90s and absolutely loved it, and gave it to a friend who I lent. I can't remember what Joe Lansdale book it was. I know it had Bubba Hotep in. It's an anthology with Bubba Hotep in, and that came out obviously before the movie was made. And I was just raving about this amazing story I read with JFK and Elvis in an old people's home fighting like a mad cowboy mummy. And I lent him that book and he gave me it back. And he said, have you got anything else? So I lent him The Drive-In. And he loved it so much, he was like, that's one of the best, literally one of the best books I've ever read. So I like, keep it, mate. Because these things are 10 a penny. You can get them everywhere. Not anymore, you can't. Flipping heck. And then a very good friend of mine, every Christmas we buy each other a lovely little book haul, and we've not been able to see each other at Christmas, so we met up for the first time a few weeks ago, and we had like a little lovely Christmas celebration. We had all day watching strange and unusual 70s horror and detective TV shows, and we got like, we went to my favourite curry house for a takeaway. If you're ever in Sheffield, Niab's in Sheffield. Anyway, so me and my very lovely friend, we swapped our little Christmas hauls of books, and this is what he got me. So I'm putting together a set of the Armada Ghost books. They're just so nice, beautiful covers. So I've got the 9th and the 11th. Look at that light, awesome. There we go, we'll get him in shot. Undead flipping highwayman. Why wasn't there a movie about undead highway people? Honestly, I know there was like Captain Clegg and things like that, but Captain Clegg? Yeah. And the Black Fingernail, obviously. But like, why didn't we get like a ghost? Why didn't Hammer ever do like a ghost highwayman film? That would have been the shit. He also got me a very, very lovely copy of Midnight by John Russo. I really love John Russo books, and I think because of Night of the Living Dead, and then his novel Return of the Living Dead, which isn't anything to do with the brilliant movie with Linnea Quigley in. If you get a chance to read John Russo's Return of the Living Dead, it's like an extra little forgotten chapter in the whole Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead type milieu. Oh, it's so good. So yeah, I was very chuffed to get Midnight, and it's a lovely Nell in lovely condition. He also got me The Raging by Tim Stout, which I haven't read, and it wasn't on my radar. It's not one I know. Look at that young lady. She's troubling but comely, which is an attractive combination for me. And then he bought me a very, very beautiful set of books that I should have, that I've been meaning to get for an awfully long time, and I've reread the first one, and it's brilliant. So he got me the Omens 1 to 4. Look at that cover. Oh, that is just so stylish. He got me the Omens 1 to 5, which I'm absolutely thrilled with. They're not hard to find, but it's just something I hadn't got round to getting again, and I kept looking at. I love that one. Just kept looking at, kind of thinking, I need to get those again and give them a reread. I do like The Omen. I really like The Omen. I always liked it a bit more than The Exorcist, actually. Am I allowed to say that? Is that heresy? I don't know. And then let's have a look at some hardbacks. So I've got an odd little assortment of hardbacks, but there's a couple in here that are absolute gems. That, do you know what? I always, when I suggest books, I always kind of say, you know, like if you think it's appealing to you, then maybe have a look at a PDF or other reviews. There's one in here that I think everybody should buy, because it's just one of the best books I have ever owned for design, style and concept, but we'll get to that. So we've got Ghosts, Ghouls and Spectres. It's full of absolutely beautiful 70s illustrations. I'll put a couple up on the screen so you can see them properly, take some nice pictures of them. And it's just it's Wilfred Finlay and Gillian Hancock, and they've just rewritten kind of classic true hauntings, but that's just such a wonderful cover. I love that kind of 70s young adult ghost story. That's what I would have been, these are the kind of books that I would have been picking up from a library, and let's just give it the library test because it's an ex-library edition. Oh, that smells of rubber stamps and late fees. Next. This really made me laugh. So this is quite a sought after book, I think, because of the cover photograph. It's a Kurt Singer anthology called Ghouls and Ghosts. This is what it looks like. And a very cheap copy came up in a book dealer's catalogue that I use, and it did say piece of dust cover missing. And it was about £3, so I thought, do you know what? I'm just gonna chance it because it's getting a bit pricey. Like the main bit of dust cover is missing. I don't mind. It was a gamble. I wasn't cross about it. It was a gamble because it was cheap, and it did say part of the dust cover was missing. This is creeping up in price. The Undead by Peter Haining and Peter Tremaine. Two Peters I really admire. I think other Peters I admire: Serafinowicz, Davison, and I can't think of any others. Oh God, Cushing! What is wrong with my brain? So yeah, this is a book about Dracula and Bram Stoker. And if you don't know, I mean, surely you know Peter Haining was an amazing anthologist. Peter Tremaine, although he's moved on to whodunits, his horror books are belters. And I'm gonna do a little video about him. So it's a factual book with some lovely pictures in the middle. We'll not dwell on it too much because we're looking at kind of more fiction things. More ghost books. I got the 5th ghost book. Again, these were dirt cheap. And the 10th ghost book. I know I could get them as the Pan Ghost book. I think they split them down into 2 volumes, but I do love these hardbacks published by Barry and Jenkins. I just think they're really nice. And then a couple that I treated myself to. So the first one is In Death's Mouth, edited by Johnny Maines, published by his company Noose and Gibbet. And I have to say, there's a lovely frontispiece by Mike Mignola. How gorgeous is that? So this is an anthology, Tales of Illness and Disease, 1832 to 1936. And Johnny's a really interesting anthologist and always manages to find these like lost and forgotten horror stories. It's a really great anthology, and I kind of wanted, in a weird way, it almost commemorates. It came out like towards the end of all the COVID things. I know we've still got it, and I know we're still in the midst of a lot of it, but some of it feels like it's easing, and this was just like a little. Not to commemorate COVID, but it just felt the right book at the right time, and it's absolutely wonderful. Really good anthology. And then the last one is a book called Studio of Screams, published by PS Publishing. If you don't know PS Publishing, they publish some absolutely staggering books. Horror fiction and speculative fiction and reprints of pre-code horror comics and all sorts. Now this is the one that it's just such an amazing concept for a book. So it's about a guy researching a studio called Blythewood, a film production company called Blythewood, who maybe they're not as big as Hammer and Amicus. They're more like a Tygon or Tyburn type studio. So what's in this book is there's 4 novellas. I'm going to take my glasses off, then I can see it. My dad always sits there and laughs when I do that. He's like, look at him, he's got to take his glasses off to see. So we've got there's 4 novellas that are adaptations of Blythewood movies. So obviously it's a fictional movie production company, so they're fiction. They're like it's all make believe. It's all made up. But we've got Sword of the Demon by Mark Morris, Devil's Circus by Christopher Golden, Castle of the Lost by Tim Lebbon, and The Squeamish by Steve Volk, which is brilliant. And then all the linking bits, so it does work like an old Amicus anthology movie. The linking bits are by Steve Bissett, and just the whole thing is just such a wonderful idea. If you're into old films or old horror things, so the linking bits of this dude kind of trying to research it and find these movies. The cover is a staggering illustration by Graham Humphreys, who is wonderful anyway. I'm just taking the dust jacket off, because if you take the dust jacket off, the cover is the same, but without any text or anything on it. And you've got a little Ollie there, looking all grumpy. I can't recommend it highly enough. I honestly think it's gone into my top 10 horror books of all time, because the novellas are corking and feel like old British 70s horror movies. And it just as an idea, just like a lost film studio. It's just beautiful. I absolutely adore it. And I recommend you buy it. And then there's no paid promotion or out like that. It's just an absolute belter of a book. So, I hope you're all well. I'm thoroughly glad to be back and to be able to get a bit of time to actually crack on with some YouTube stuff. I've got a whole slew of videos in my head or already researched that I want to crack on with. So there will be some new content coming on the Horror Book Blurb channel. So thank you for watching, guys, and I will see you ghoulish and wonderful lot in the next video.